baseball fans. It's your boy Big Bro along with Pacman. We back in the building to talk about tonight's Chicago Cubs victory over the Washington Nationals. Man, it was a pretty good game. We're going to get into all of that. White Sox had the day off, so y'all Cubs fans get the day to yourselves. You need. We're going to go talk about the game right after this.
Welcome to the number one place for all Chicago baseball. Let's start the show.
All right, Chicago baseball fans, first things first, go ahead and click that like button, that subscribe button. We appreciate you guys for working with us thus far throughout this season. Man, the month of April was crazy for our Chicago baseball teams. You had the White Sox starting off hitting the ball really well, and then they just tapered off and things fell off the rails. They went on a 10-game losing streak, along with losing series after series to start the season, with the exception of starting against Houston. And then you had the Cubs start off pretty hot, but they kind of tapered off a little bit, losing 7 out of their last 10 games. Here we are in the month of May. White Sox off today, and the Chicago Cubs take on the Washington Nationals and take care of business 5-1. What's good with you, Pacman?
What's going on, Brody? How you feeling?
Feeling good, man. We had the Chicago Cubs defeat the Washington Nationals 5-1 today. And like as you said before we started the live, hey, it was a palate cleanser.
You're right about that. You got to start off the month right? You got to start off with momentum. And I think this is the right series to start it off. Come back and some of the hitters get their offensive identity back. You've been seeing like Suzuki been slumping for like the last couple of weeks. He was hitting pretty well like at the end of the Marlins game and today. I like to see that. I still want him to be dropped in the lineup, but I kind of like that. But we got to talk about Bellinger, man. I mean, his career has turned around. He did a 180. You know, people say 360.
Yes.
His career did a 360. We can say that for this guy right
here. I'm not mad at Cody Bellinger, man. He did his thing. He's been doing his thing today. For this squad. But he had a 1-run score today, 1 for 4. But he's at about 300 batting average this season, and he's definitely having a resurgence, as it were. And then, of course, Dansby Swanson was the one that kind of put the game a little bit out of reach because Drew Smyly was dealing today.
Yeah. Unfortunate thing that happened today for the Cubs. I would have seen another no hitter or complete game by Drew Smyly, but the Cubs lost Yan Gomes in the 6th inning, and immediately when he was replaced by Tucker Barnhart, Drew Smyly gave up a home run. So, but you got to
what happened to Gomes?
Gomes, yeah, he got a backswing to the helmet. He got evaluated. They say he was looking off when they evaluated him on the field. This is behind the scenes a little bit. They're not going to come out and say it's in concussion. Backstops and catches. That's their biggest thing is concussions. So you want to hope he got a speedy recovery. You want to hope his day to day. Hope his lights is just knocked out for that quick seconds and not because concussion is unpredictable. That can be
and
1 week.
And I'm sure they got a whole concussion protocol situation in MLB, just like other sports. Yeah. So we definitely praying for Yan Gomes. Man, it's crazy. I'm looking at this Philly-Boston game. Look like Philly might take this one. James Harden going off. He got 40 plus, and he just hit a big 3 to put them up 4 going into a timeout with like 5 seconds left.
Man,
great.
I gotta definitely check that out. You see his outfit that he came in on? They was calling him the Cookie Monster. So
looking like the Cookie Monster, but when you got that much money, man,
it doesn't matter. He wanted to be at the Met Gala, pretty much. He said, like, I want to be at the
talk.
Met.
That's what it is. Yeah. That's what it was. He out, probably a little baby probably there. So he wanted to be there too. But Drew Smyly was dealing today, man, and he's been one of the most consistent pitchers in baseball since the end of last season. And so far, he's allowed 2 runs or fewer in 12 of his last 14 starts. Shout out to Drew Smyly.
Yeah. I wasn't a big fan of Drew Smyly, but he also came in the early stages of the pitching lab, and the Cubs kind of resurrected his career. It was around about 2019, 2020 when he came off of Tommy John. He didn't come pitch for the Cubs, but he went through the program, and then I want to say he pitched for the Giants out of relief. Showed some promise there, showed that he was striking out a lot, and then re-signed with the Cubs. And he just, I didn't expect this. I was looking for him to be one of the guys to drop off the rotation. When Hendricks come back, I was looking for him to be that left-handed specialist out the bullpen. But I don't want him to go nowhere now. He's locked in.
You know it. It's crazy because the Cubs have decisions to make with their pitching rotation once everybody gets back healthy.
Yeah, they got a lot of decisions to make. Yeah, I mean, even with the hitters, I was just reading an article that said that the Cubs got to be looking to put their best team on the field if they want to compete, and their best team is not on the field right now. Now
Yeah.
we talk about injuries, people getting healthy. Hendricks coming back. Yeah, Cody Howard may be coming back in the next month. But we talking about the guys in the AAA right now that just lights out. Like, what are you doing here? You're still not giving Nelson Velasquez the opportunities. He kind of cooling off out of his White Hart series. But what are we doing with Christopher Moreira right now? This guy is just, I don't know. It's just like putting Michael Jordan in the G League right now.
Hey, sometimes it's just that roster spot, and you know how baseball is. It's just one of those things where they want to pay. They play the people that they pay, just like football and basketball. Unless you have like otherworldly talent, and we both know that injuries will definitely open up a roster spot for this young man sometime throughout the season.
Yeah, you want to look at it like that. You hate to say injuries because that can derail the perfect storm that you have for your team in baseball. But I think the Cubs overshot what they was trying to do in the offseason. They kind of overcommitted to players that fit the mold of the roster, but you're giving them too much time. Honestly, they didn't expect for Matt Mervis to be performing this well against AAA pitching right now with the limited time. And they didn't. Morel, he went out and he adjusted his entire swing path, his hands, everything, his batting stance, and he's locked in. This is something that's worth the. The only thing I hate that they did is that they let him continue playing the outfield. Now you locked up your outfield for a long time, but you should have been focusing them on shortstop, third base, utility infielder with a little bit outfield spot. I know he had to get adjusted because he came in as a third baseman and moved to a center fielder, but they had this guy playing left field the entire season. So that's going to be the only issue for me, when he come in, where you going to get those at-bats.
Okay. So tomorrow you got Wesneski with versus Williams on the mound. And we're trying to see if Wesneski can kind of find his stride. And just like the Oakland series, this is the perfect opportunity for him to go out there and deal. What do you think about tomorrow's matchup?
Well, of course, tomorrow's matchup is the Cubs, former Cub Trevor Williams. But Cubs gonna go out there and they're gonna win. They're gonna probably put up a lot of runs, or they're gonna squeak out a win by 2 to 3 runs. And again, with Wesneski, I think his time on a roster is pretty much limited. He impressed with the Oakland, but then the next 2 starts out there was like, and he even said to himself, he said he may need some more seasoning in AAA, and that's a good mentality to have, to be self-aware. So I'm just thinking at this particular point, like, there's no matter what you do here, you can absolutely dominate. But
yeah, he's pretty much out of there once
you out of there, buddy.
Yeah, once they get back. All right, so we'll look at a couple of highlights before we get up out of here and show how the Cubs did it and got the job done today versus the Nationals. Here was the first RBI.
Needs to come. Drilled out towards right center field, and that's going to score a run. Suzuki rips one into the gap in right center. It's an RBI single, and he continues to thrive against the lefties. 1-0 Cubs.
And there you go. You got Suzuki feasting on left-handed pitching again. He struggled a little bit over the last week or so. So it was good to see him get that RBI and put the Cubs on the board early.
With Suzuki, I don't know what's going on with him. He was that guy with the splits that hit righties way better than lefty, but also could hit lefties really dominant. And you think he was going to go across the board with a guy that can play every day. But I'm hating that the way he hitting lefties right now, and the Cubs played a lot of lefties in the last month. So, but I just think it's one of those situations where you're going to have to picking and choosing who Suzuki play against if it's a right-hander with some stuff, because he's been looking lost at the plate all last week.
True. And then we'll check this one out right here.
Drilled to center. Robles going back some more at the track, at the wall. It's off the wall. Mancini into second, Suzuki into score, and the Cubs doing damage again with 2 outs. It's 2-0.
So you see Mancini, he was like this close to getting a home run, but he went ahead and knocked them in right there. That was pretty dope.
Yeah. Home run in probably 20 out of the 30 parks. No matter where you go, that's that wall in Washington is pretty high. It's at 10 feet, and he hit the top of it. But with Mancini, I like what he brings to the team. I think he should shift to a part-time role, rotate out, DH and first base, and I kind of give up some of them at bats. But he's been swinging it pretty good for the last week.
So we got the real Don P is saying good game versus mostly Washington's prospects from the Soto and Harper trades. But it was a good win for the Cubs today. And then we got one more highlight to show real quick. This is Dansby Swanson with a Dansby Dinger real quick.
103 before that.
That is hammered left field. That one back and gone. Dansby Swanson unloads his second of the year, and the Cubs have opened up a 4-1 lead as he deposits one into the bullpen.
So that one right there put the Cubs up 4-1. They would end up winning 5-1 after Ian Happ got an insurance run in the top of the ninth inning. It was a good win for the Cubs, man. Nice win to get the taste of that Marlins sweep out of their mouths and take care of business in this 4-game series versus Washington, which I expect to be at least 3 out of 4 for the Cubs.
Yeah. What's crazy that when the Cubs go and play at Marlins stadiums, they cannot beat them at all. They haven't. The Marlins haven't just dropped tons of runs on them or shut. It's always 1 or 2 runs that they beat them by, and the Cubs just can't win. They beat the Cubs 9 straight series in Marlins Park, and the Cubs took the 2 series before them, 11-5 right now in the last 3 years that the Cubs faced the Marlins. Hope we don't meet them in playoffs, please. Man, that'd be devastating.
It's psychological sometimes, man.
Yeah, I mean, and it's a lot of new players. We need to get out that mode of playing right there. And with Dansby playing, you're going to see him performing a lot like he did today, and with the Marlins on the NL East, coming from the NL East, he knows those parks, he knows those power alleys. He's going to hit a lot of home runs playing out there too.
Yes, sir. All right, so there you have it. Cubs took care of the business today. Hopefully they can do the same thing tomorrow. And also the White Sox will be back in action tomorrow versus division rival Minnesota. And hopefully, we're not sure. We got to see it. But hopefully yesterday's epic comeback versus Tampa Bay, after having Tampa Bay have an epic comeback versus them the game prior, is the start of something good for the White Sox, because right now they've been putrid, to say the least. Basically the worst team in baseball, and with the exception of yesterday's comeback, they would have been in last in their division. So hopefully they can turn things around here in the month of May.
Yeah, I think it's the time for them to turn around. They got a pretty, I don't want to say winnable schedule, because baseball is unpredictable. You can go into Kansas City and get swept, just really like that. But I think this is a real test. They played Minnesota well, but I don't know. Minnesota had their number even when they was the Besky Twins back in the mid 2000s when they won the World Series. So that's a series you look at. Yeah. But you want them to beat the Reds. You want to take them to take 2 out of 3 versus the Reds. You want them to take 2 out of 3 versus the Royals. Those are the series that you win to make them feel good. If they drop series to Minnesota, they playing Houston again, right? And
they got Houston again.
Yeah, so if you go up against those series against the division rival of Minnesota and Houston, them is a lot of your toughest tests. Just win the winnable games. That's what they need to focus on. They need to get their bullpen in order, pretty much, to be honest.
Real talk.
Yeah.
And then you got Tim Anderson coming back tomorrow, which should be a motivation for these guys out there. And hopefully they can turn things around, because right now it's been pretty bad. We got the real Don P saying that's an organizational thing. The Marlins have always drafted tall, strong pitchers who throw high 90s and low 100s, and that's been causing trouble for the Cubs in their stadium. And then BLJ, the general, y'all already know, salute fam when he speak. He says that's crazy. I still have PTSD when the Marlins beat the Cubs in 2003. I bet you ain't nobody got more. Bet you ain't nobody got more PTSD than old boy Bartman, though. You did. he got the most PTSD about all of it. We ain't
Hey, he
seen or
got
heard
offered
from
the
him
World
since.
Series ring though, but he didn't want it.
I bet you he didn't, because anything red and blue and white just caused him to break out into hives. You did. Like he ain't got he ain't got no time to be dealing with the Cubs after what they did to him, man. But it's crazy that happened like before the social media boom, because he would have been in even worse shape if he was being shared all over the internet in this capacity on TikToks and Instagram and all of that stuff.
Exactly.
So, all right, y'all already know how we do, man. We don't hold you long. Baseball is definitely an everyday thing. We appreciate you for rocking with us. If y'all haven't already, go ahead and click that like button, hit that subscribe button. And y'all already know how to find us. Hit us up at 773-389-6954. Or you can hit us an email at ChicagoBaseballCentral@gmail.com. I'm your boy, Big Bro. We got Pacman in the building. We appreciate you guys for rocking with us, man. This is crazy. And he says, peace. Appreciate you guys. We're going to see y'all tomorrow. White Sox kicking it off versus Minnesota, the division rivals. And then the Cubs are going into game 2 of their series in 2 out of 4 versus the Washington Nationals. It should be fun. We're going to holler at y'all then. We appreciate y'all. Peace.
Welcome to the #1 place for all Chicago baseball. Let's start the show.